I think if I could go back to my younger self and say, just don't worry about points, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, and just have fun the rest of your career, that would have been. I mean, I did have so much fun, but like, I think having fun in the moments where I struggled the most would have helped me a little bit more.
Hello and welcome back to Rinkside Rundown, the podcast that brings you inside the world of women's hockey, one story at a time. I'm your host, Chris Sinclair, and today I'm joined by Maddy Christian, a forward from Elk River, Minnesota, assistant captain at Penn State. Maddie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Super good. Excited to be here.
Awesome. I love the enthusiasm. This is going to make for one heck of an exciting episode. Let's go ahead. Let's dive in. And I want to start by asking, you have shared a story in the past about your first experiences with hockey and how it may not have gone exactly the way that you had hoped. And so I wanted to know how you stumbled and didn't maybe necessarily get the greatest first impression of the sport, but you ended up ultimately falling in love with hockey.
Yeah, so funny story. I was a figure skater before I was a hockey player and was born in Connecticut, moved to Minnesota, the state of hockey, when I was 4 years old. That's where both of my parents are from. And I was a gymnast, I was a dancer, figure skated, like all the girly sports you could say. And so, like I said, started figure skating, and my dad tried to put me on hockey skates because he also played hockey. And first time he told me the story, he's like, "You took one step on the ice, fell straight back," because the figure skates are flat, like completely different blade. Fell straight on your back, got off crying. You're like, "I'm never doing this again." And then the next thing you know, he told me, he was like, "You kept mentioning you wanted to be a part of a team. You wanted to be a part of a team." And then finally got back on my brother's skates, tried it again. And that's where I was in U8s that year.
So I guess it sounds as though very early on you had this like go get 'em attitude. It
Yes,
wasn't nothing that was going to end up ultimately setting you back. Is that accurate, and is that something that has carried with you throughout your journey?
absolutely. I have kind of told stories as I grow up. Like, if I put my mind to something, I know I can do it. For example, crazy example, like my cousin, I was just talking about it with somebody last night. My cousin was a great gymnast when she was younger, could walk on her hands like nobody's business. And I was like, I want to be just like Ellie. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I think I practiced so hard to be able to walk on my hands until I finally could walk on my hands. And I did it. Like, those are the little things I feel like I've kept throughout my career as well.
Absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
as I mentioned off the top, grew up in Elk River. Could you talk about what that scene was like? And of course, I mean, as you mentioned, the state of hockey, what was it like growing up there? Did you feel any pressure to be involved in hockey? Of course, as your dad was involved in hockey, we'll get to in just a moment as well. But what was
Yeah.
that experience like? What was it like growing up in Elk River?
Great question. I love my hometown. I would never wanna grow up anywhere else. It was the perfect fit of, like, everyone plays hockey, but also people also play other sports. Like, I got involved with lacrosse and soccer and other sports when I was little too. So I feel like although hockey's the main one, I mean, there's other ones as well. It was amazing growing up because I live 7 minutes away from the rink, and all my teammates here at Penn State are like, "I had a 2.5 hour drive to practice." I'm like, "That's crazy. I just get in my car and I'm at practice." So that is the thing I appreciate. Like, my hometown friends are still some of my closest friends, and those are the girls that I grew up playing hockey with. I I mean, I couldn't speak any highly of where I'm from. It was just a great place, great people. I mean, Minnesota nice, that's the other thing, is everyone was so generous and people push you to be the best you are there, and I really appreciate that.
How important then was it for you to have that supportive environment, especially early on, and especially, I know that when you put your mind to something, you're going to do it, but still at the same time, stumbling
Yeah.
and not necessarily enjoying hockey to start with can be discouraging. But you
Mhm.
had quite the supportive community around you, both at home and the greater Minnesota community. Well, how important was that for you as well to have that, especially early on?
I think people not saying take it for granted, but I definitely took it for granted. Like, after coming to Penn State and realizing that you grow up and you're like, wow, the people really make the place. I just go back to my hometown and I'm like, I grew up with some of my best friends ever. Like, my best friends' parents are best friends with my parents. So like we're all best friends, right? And if I didn't have those people or if I didn't have the support I wouldn't have had, like, you never know. I could have been like, this sucks. I don't want to play anymore. You know what I mean? So people are and connections are huge. And I was fortunate enough to have the best connections.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's paid off. So
Yeah,
it worked
yeah,
out
for
well for
sure.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
So we've talked about your dad. Your dad played Division 1, played overseas as well. So I
Mhm.
want to know as well, having someone who has gone through it, when you think about your journey as a whole, I know we're kind of jumping a little bit ahead, but I think that it's important to kind of put this in perspective. When you think about your own journey, and then you think about the fact that you had someone who shared in that journey, of course, a little bit different, but still, what has that meant for you? How important has that been that you have someone who maybe you could lean on in those tough moments, or especially in this next chapter? How important has it been to have him there for you too?
For sure. I think it's so important because obviously he's my dad. I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to go to him for advice, but like the advice that he gives me has always been great. Like, even at a younger age, I'm the type of person to be like, "Dad, I thought I played well, but what else could I have done? What else could I have done, this, that, and that?" And he is so good at telling me what the real problem is, but at the same time, he understands that, like, he's been there, he's done that, he knows what is going on. He's like, "If you're not gonna do it after I say it 2, 3 times, then that's your decision. I'm not gonna be the parent that's like, 'Do this, do this, do this.'" But, like, as I grow up, it's more of like a, "Okay, what's your advice?" instead of like, "How can I mean, I'm still asking him how I can improve and whatnot, but at the same time, it's more of like, "What do you think about, like, overseas versus staying here? What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" So I think that and having his opinion is super, super helpful because like I said, he's been there, he's done that, he knows what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that it's also really important because there are so many variables when it comes to a hockey. I
Yeah.
mean, any sport career, but certainly hockey, right? Like this next chapter, it very well. I'm of course rooting for you to make it to the PWHL, of
Thank
course, and
you,
there
yeah.
are a lot of other people too. But it may
Yeah.
also mean you go overseas, and so having that support, having maybe removing some of those variables or clearing them
Yeah.
up, certainly would
Mhm.
be reassuring to you. Is that fair to say?
For sure, for sure. Yeah, because the other thing that made me think about it is, like, he's been like, "Okay, you declare for the P-Dub, see how it goes your first year, could be awesome, but at the same time, like, you also could not play. There is a potential where you could get hurt. You have, like, this draft heavy class of all these Olympians, and, like, you never know how it's gonna go."
I would be remiss if we didn't move if before moving on, we didn't give a
Yeah.
shout out to your mom and to your uncle because you have talked
Yes.
about them being role models for you
Yes.
throughout your career as well. Could you talk about their impact on you and how supportive they've been throughout, especially those early days, but of course, I'm sure even to this very moment and the next chapter.
For sure. I feel like my mom, so I am more of like I'll go to my dad for things, but my mom is more of like, she makes me have that like hard-nosed drive because her, like, if we say we get in an argument, she's the one that makes me want to like push harder and go harder and like be the best version of myself. Whereas my dad's the guy that's more of like the advice person. So she is definitely like been there, supported me. If something's going on, she's gonna tell me how it is, and I'm gonna like fight back. But at the end of the day, it's like, was she right? Was she wrong? Like, how am I gonna? that's kinda how she and I don't know, it's kinda hard, like, with that, like, I just remember my senior year, we clashed all the time, but, like, everything happens for a reason, and I believe, like, that's the reason why I am so, like, confident with my choices now and, like, strong with my head and whatnot. So, little things like that, and then Mark, so my dad has an identical twin, Mark. I He has also been a great role model because same thing with my dad, like, they've gone through adversity, they've, played hockey in college, whatnot, and I remember it's just cool to have, like, a hockey family background because I remember when we were in he lives in Duluth, and we were in was it it might have been like U10 or U12s, and my dad was our coach, one of our coaches, assistant coach, and he couldn't be there that weekend, but I didn't tell anybody, and Mark showed up on the bench in the locker room, and everyone was like, "Oh, Matt, like, what are you doing here?" And he rolled with it, he was like, "Yeah, like, let's go," and then finally, after a while, like, my best friend Cora from home, she's like, "I don't think that's your dad." I'm like, "It's not, it's Mark," but, like, those are the funny things that you're gonna remember because like, during that game as well, he was like, "Maddie, face-offs," like, I was a center when I was younger, and he tells me the little things that I need to hear, and it's also funny, like, for example, face-offs during that game, he's like, "Make sure to do this, this, and this, and you'll start winning them." And I started winning them, and I'm like, "That's the like, you listen to the advice you're given, and it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works." And the other thing with Mark is, like, they notice when I'm off, and I think it's like that twin connection, so, like, if Mark watches my games, he's gonna call my dad and be like, "Hey, is Maddie alright? Like, what's going on?" And they just know how to approach the situation and, like, make me the best I can be and give me that advice.
You know what stood out to me? I mean, among other things about those stories, was just the fact that you have the biggest smile on your face
Yeah.
remembering those moments, even though I'm sure in the moment you were like, leave me alone. Like, I
Yeah,
don't want to feel so much pressure, or I'm trying so hard or whatever. And now
for
you just,
sure.
you reflect on those and you are very happy. You are,
Yeah.
like I said, big smile on your face. I love that.
Thank you.
When you when we look at your junior career, and that goes right up into, of course, high school, you saw a lot of success, all
Mhm,
state championships, and, all these points, all these accolades, so many different things. When you think about that and you reflect on those experiences, what are some of the
mhm.
things that you're most proud of? Maybe, of course, on the ice, but maybe away from the ice as well.
Ooh, I feel like that's a great question because when I think about all my accolades, I go to my team. I'm like, I could not have done it without my team. And I feel like that's the most basic answer, but it is so true because I remember I'm a storyteller. Well, I remember in 11th grade, that's when I kind of to get frustrated. Was it 11th? Yeah, I think 11th grade. I started to get frustrated because that's when it went from, oh my gosh, I'm just having fun, like, points are points, whatnot, like, whatever, right? Like, you're just playing to have fun, and that's when it was like, "Okay, now I need to, like, produce and blah, blah, blah," and you start thinking about it a little more, and I wasn't the best captain my junior year, and my best friend Cora, still my best friend to this day, called me out, she was like, "Maddie, I know that you are struggling a lot with being captain," and, like, I was very hard on my teammates. And sometimes in that environment, you have people who are going to the next level and you have people who are just there to have fun and play high school hockey and then go to college and who cares, right? So like I'm there and I'm like, let's win, like let's get intense, want to win, want to be here. And sometimes at that level, you have to take in a different approach to those people. And Cora was like, tried doing it in a different way and, like, talking in that way, and I think that's also what led me to my successes is, like, my friends are not afraid to tell me that and make me a better person, vice versa. So that's why I feel like I have so much success is because of the people who I surround myself with.
Yeah, it's very valuable. Again, it might not necessarily feel like it in the moment, but certainly it's
Yeah,
paid off, right? It's gotten you
for
to where
sure.
you are.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about the commitment process for you and
Mhm.
Penn State because you committed at 15, I believe.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine making that big of a decision when I was 15. I still don't know if I'm capable of doing that now. And I'm certainly older than 15. So for you, what was it like? What went into the decisions, that commitment process, and what ultimately made Penn State feel like the right decision? I mean, outside of it's Penn State.
For sure. That another great question. I also was shocked when my dad called me and he's like, "Guess what?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You have your first college." I'm like, "Dad, I'm in 8th grade. Like, I don't even know what I want at the moment." So, it was a shock. It was a shock, but I feel like that's how life is. Like, at that moment in time, at that year, you had colleges reaching out, so you had to deal what you were given with, right? And in that moment, you go on visits, you learn, you, like, look up information, you have your dad, like, he was helping me throughout it, and he was like, "This you're either do you want a big school vibe? Do you want a small school vibe? Like, here are the pros of big school. Like, if you go to a big school, you're gonna have to, like, find time out of class to like meet with your professors if you value that. If you, because I value my academics very highly, and he's like, if you want a small school vibe, like you're gonna be able to talk to your teachers in class. Like you have to look at the little things of what you want. Do you want a big school? Do you want a small school? And overall, I think I love meeting people. I love making connections. And I decided that big school vibe. And I also wanted to go to a place that was either up and coming or already kind of there because, which is what led me to my decision at Penn State because I either wanted to stay home and be a golfer just like every other Minnesotan or go to Penn State, and when I visited here, it was like, "Okay, this program is up and coming, like, we're Big 10, like, great academics." It was just the perfect place. I remember I'm at the rink right now, and you can see our view. I remember rolling down this road, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's a football stadium, like, here's Pagula." Like, this place is unreal, and the more research I did, the more I fell in love with it. I'm like, it's so cool to, like, come to a program and make a difference, so I think that's what kinda led me to my decision.
So then I guess it begs the question, especially early on or so early on in your own career, making that commitment to Penn State. Did that instill maybe some additional confidence in you? Because, here's this great program, and you are now committed to going there. Did you feel like you felt both on the ice and as a person away from the ice, maybe another level of confidence to your game, and that you belong here, and like that this journey that you're on is the right journey for you to be on?
For sure, I think I when I first committed, I didn't really think actually, I wanna say from when I committed till when I was a senior, I did have that confidence right away where I was like, "Wow, like, I am going Division 1, like, I didn't even think about it before my dad even told me that this college is reaching out, like, it was kinda crazy. So, it definitely did instill confidence, but not too much. So, it was, like, the perfect amount of, like, I know I'm good, but, like, I'm not gonna walk around the school wearing Penn State all day and, like, have that cocky personality. So, I think it was, like, the perfect mix.
Just the right amount. That's fair. That's fair.
Yes.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Now that I know that we're kind of jumping a little bit here, but now that you're on the verge of this exciting next chapter of your career, I'm going to say that a bunch because I'm excited for you for sure. Um, you're on the verge of this exciting next chapter, could you
Mhm.
maybe take a moment to reflect? I know that the Penn State years are still very fresh for you, but maybe could you talk about how you as a person have changed, evolved, grown, developed from your first year and going in and probably being wide-eyed and being like, "Oh boy,"
Yeah.
to now graduating and knowing that those years, your collegiate career is now in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, so I think I've grown tremendously. I mean, I say that from only being 22 years old, but at the same time, like, you come in at 18 and you're like, wow, like you were told you were going to play, but now you got to prove it and you got to earn your spot. And this is why I appreciate my class so much is because we all came in, we all grew together. Like there were so many hard times freshman through senior year that like it just makes you think about things and you're like you have a different perspective. Like you learn from people from these different places who have different mindsets and it like you bounce off of each other with ideas and I think that's why I've grown so much is because like I remember coming in freshman year barely played and it takes a toll on your mental health. Like it was really hard freshman year because I'm a biomedical engineering major and my classes were brutal. I'm in like
No.
the chems and the bios and the physics that are just weed out classes. So you're just like, I'm not playing and school sucks. So you're like, holy moly. But that's why connections are so important because I had my teammates and my class to back me up with that. So I remember, like I said, remember freshman year, Tessa Janicki, unbelievable hockey player. And I appreciate her so much because I remember her and I clashed freshman year at Cornell in the locker room, and we were kind of like fighting against each other and like, Tessa, why'd you do this? Maddie, why'd you do like going back and forth? But I look at that and I'm like, wow, that makes me a better player and person. And same with her. Like there are so many different scenarios and hard conversations that you have to become the person and grow. So I give it to my class and I give it to my team and coaches, everybody.
Yeah, spoken like a true leader, which then begs the question, as I mentioned off the top, assistant captain with Penn State. So I want
Mhm.
to also hear from you how being in a leadership role in that program alongside some fairly talented individuals,
Yes.
to put it lightly, of course, how that also helped maybe you grow, you develop, and also set you up for this next chapter of your life.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like being I so, like, looking at assistant captain, I always tell my class, and my class always tells me, like, I feel like you can be a leader without a letter and with a letter. So, it doesn't matter what you have and what you don't have, and I feel like that's where we having the A, it definitely put me in a position where the younger kids are coming to me, and I was like, "We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this," because I am the type of person that's like, "This is how it's gonna be," like, these are my opinions, like, you along those lines, right? And my classes also had a bunch of A's, so it just proves that, like, my class is the best. I will never say another reason why, but, like, we all had A's and we all were different in different scenarios, but that's what made us so good is, like, Leah was more the type of people were gonna go to her and, like, if something's wrong or, like, something off the ice, whatnot, but, like, I'm the type of person that's like, "Hey, this is going on with hockey, like, how can I overcome this?" Because I had this season where I didn't play freshman year, and my mindset, my freshman summer going into sophomore year was, "I'm gonna do everything in my power because I wanna play hockey, and I want my team to, like, benefit off of me, and I just wanna be there for my team and, like, I wanna win, right? And so that was kinda like my shift, and a lot of people know that I didn't play from going to have a really good junior and senior year. So I think that's where I came into play, and, like, everybody has these different roles as captain, and I feel like it was kinda cool seeing those different roles in my teammates.
It's really interesting, right? That you can have a leadership team. And I think, first of all,
Yeah,
great point that anyone can be a leader, whether you have a letter or
yeah,
not. You, of
for
course,
sure.
did. But that was such a good group where you could go, you had the different pieces that together makes one heck of a great leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so we have so much more that we could talk about in regards to your time at Penn State, but I want to make
Yes.
sure that we leave a good chunk of our conversation to, once again, as I've said, this exciting next chapter of your career, because I know you're dying to talk about
Yes.
it. I know that you're dying also maybe to press the fast forward button and get to it rather than this anticipation of it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we're gonna live in that anticipation for just a few more moments here. Um,
Mhm.
what is I'm gonna start off with the question like just how are you feeling as you're looking at this next chapter, as you're looking at what could be the
Mhm.
beginning of your pro career?
Yeah, I would lie to you if I said I wasn't nervous. I'm very nervous, but I'm super excited at the same time. So I think it's a mix of both where there's so many unknowns, but the one thing that I did learn this year, especially going through a little bit of hard patch at the end of this past season is there is beauty in the unknown, and it is so important to appreciate that and just go with it. Like, life is a bunch of unknowns and, like, it's how you respond to it instead of like, "Oh, this sucks. Oh, that's brutal." You know what I mean? So, I think that's my mindset right now is, like, wherever I get drafted, I know that I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna prove how great I can be, how great of an addition I can be to this program, like, personality-wise, player-wise, just everything.
So, I mean, it also begs the question, that when you think about the PWHL, I mean, quite frankly, even the SDHL, you're seeing like there's just this real moment, this real movement, this real spotlight, this real enthusiasm behind women's hockey, which is long overdue. Let me
Mhm,
emphasize that for sure, as I'm sure you would agree. But
mhm.
you're going to be joining this, potentially joining this league. I don't want to project too much, but
Yeah.
if I keep saying it, it will happen.
Yes.
You have the opportunity to join this league at a really exciting time. What does that mean to you
Mhm.
as well when you're seeing these records being broken, attendance records, big venues being sold out constantly? What does this mean to you as well?
It's just incredible that people are starting to value women's sports, and the fact that I can be a part of it is just so amazing. Like, I really, truly don't have the words to say how excited I am and how cool it is that, like I said, people are starting to notice that women's hockey is on the map and these girls are physical, they can score, they can hit like just strong girls. And it gets mean sometimes. Like the PW is like there's a lot of fighters and like there's hits and whatnot, which I love. I love it. And so I think people it's cool to be a part of it. It's gonna be surreal. It's gonna be really surreal and it's gonna be breathtaking and I'm gonna be speechless.
So, and I absolutely agree with you. I think if for anyone who hasn't watched the PWHL, ooh, you are
Yeah.
missing out. You are absolutely
Yeah.
missing out. Yeah, a live
Right?
PW. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I could go on about that, but this isn't about me.
Yes.
This is about you. And so, I do want to ask as well. When you think about, there's this saying, and we're hearing it a lot more and more, and rightfully so, that when you can see it, you can be it. When you were growing up, you didn't necessarily have, certainly at least the access to be able to watch people like you, people who
Yeah.
looked like you play the sport that you love as much as you do. What do you
Yes.
think it'll mean as well to be joining a league that we're seeing? Like, you can't not go to a game and
Yeah.
see young girls with their signs, and they're so, like they're way more creative signs than I could ever come up
Oh,
with. These are
absolutely.
fantastic. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're going to be joining this league, or you have again the opportunity to join this league. Projecting once
Yeah.
again, my apologies,
You're
to
good.
join this league. And what does it mean to you as well to know that there are so many of these young girls who now will be looking, watching on TV, watching live, and saying, "I want to be just like Maddy Christian." What does that mean to you?
It's cool. I always go back to Elk River. I've been coaching there for the past, I think, 4 years now, and I have this group of girls who are gonna be U10, U12 around there, and it's so cool because they look up to you, and I take it for granted because, like, when I was that age, I did the same thing to, like when I was an 8th grader, Madison Bazal was a senior, I'm like, "She's so cool, like, she's going to Ohio State, now she plays for the Frost," and I'm like even Kelsey King was at Mankato and played for Ohio State, like, won a natty champ, and I'm like, "She's so cool." Even though they're a couple years older than me, so, like, thinking about putting myself in their shoes, like I said, it's just I'm glad I can be that person who's so positive and contagious and makes them want to do the same thing I wanna do. So, I always try to be that great role model because that's what I would have wanted in looking at these older girls as well. So, I mean, I just think about these girls and I'm like, they have Instagram now, like they're starting to get cool and they follow you and they repost your stuff and I'm like, they're like my little fans at home. So, it's so cool.
So then that's interesting because I didn't know that you are also a coach. And
Yeah.
so before we move on to the final segment here, what's that been like for you? Has that I don't want to say reignited or continued to fuel your own passion for the game? I'm sure it does. But what's it like to also have a direct connection with that next generation too?
I love it because I know that what I learned, I can teach them, and I know they're gonna value it just because, like, I play at Penn State, like, I'm a credible source, and it makes me happy to see like, I value teaching people or giving people advice and they succeed from it. It makes me the happiest person in the world, which is why I love coaching because I see these little kids and I'm like, hey, blah, 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 do this, or hey, so and so, do this. And they go out and they crush it. And I come back next season, I see they're doing the same thing, but even better. And I'm like, you learned, like, oh my gosh, you're just going to succeed. And I love it. I love it. It makes me so happy, which is why I coach. I mean, it's so cool when these girls can take what you give them and apply it to their game and just do it in even better than I do it, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Makes me
Absolutely.
happy.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, one last draft related question for you.
Yes.
And maybe this is going to be a little bit difficult to know the answer for, but I
Mhm.
do want to have you thought about that moment where you could hear your name called and what you'll be thinking in that moment and who you might think of in that moment?
Ooh, I have not thought about that, but I just got tears in my eyes because I'm like, "Whoa, I haven't thought about that." I would say if I'm getting on the ice my mind goes to, "Okay, get the puck, hit the net, don't miss the net." So, when after that, after I think about all the stupid, crazy stuff, I'm probably like, "Wow, like, my parents must be so proud of me." Like, they raised I talk about this with my friend Cora all the time. We're like, "We have incredible parents." Like, yes, we've gone through the highs and the lows with them, but, like, incredible, incredible parents, incredible family, and they raised us, like, they made us and, like, instilled these values in us that, like, we now have today. We just get to, like, build off of it, and I think that is so cool, so I would definitely like, my parents, my brothers, I love my brothers, I too have 2 younger brothers, and we joke around with each other all the time, like, I was not easy when I was younger, so I was very, like I roughed around, I love to wrestle, like, little things like that, so I'd joke around with my brothers, and then we'd end up hurting each other or just crazy stuff that siblings do, but, like, I appreciate it because that's, like, the rough side or the aggressive side that they brought out in me, you know what I
Yep.
mean? So, there
Yep.
you could it's family, I would think of my family for sure.
Yeah. Great answer. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
We are now going to move to the final buzzer segment of the show. It's a fun rapid fire way to wrap up the conversation. So,
Perfect.
only rapid fire because I try not to ask any follow up questions. I fail every time because I'm super chatty, but we're going to try. That's the
Same.
goal. That's the goal. Okay. So, we are going to start with what is your go to pregame meal?
I'm a breakfast person.
Ooh.
If we play at like a 2, 3 PM game, I love eggs. I grab eggs. Um, probably yeah, eggs, I would say I'm a sausage over bacon, so I grab my
Mhm,
sausage. I
mhm.
do I'm trying to think of what else. Fruit, usually there's like cantaloupe, strawberries, and then pancakes. If they have pancakes, I'll either grab like 1 or 2, and I think that's about it.
Okay,
Something
well,
like
you had
that.
me up until cantaloupe. I do not like cantaloupe, but other than that,
I I
Absolutely
love
love that.
fruit. So,
Yeah, I do
yes.
too, but not melon. I can't do it. I've never been able to do it. I love it though. What
Yes.
is on your game day playlist? Who are some of those artists? Some of those go-to songs that's like gets you dialed in, gets you ready for game day.
I have a lot of answers to this, so you gotta bear with me. So, it
Okay.
depends on my mood. It
Okay.
kinda goes through phases, like, my junior year, I'm a huge country fan, so it was, like, Toby Keith, Alan Jackson, George Strait before games just to try to get me into that, like, focus mindset, but I'm still, like, vibey, upbeat, like, great old country music. Otherwise, sometimes I'm like, okay, I love rap, I love EDM has been another one where I'm like, okay, starting to get like pumped for games is super fun. So I think that like at the end of the year, I want to say it was EDM just because I was so hot. Like Frozen 4 is unreal and you're like, okay, I got to settle down a little bit, but
Mhm.
EDM is going to get me
But
going.
yeah, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
What is one word that your teammates might use to describe you?
I like this and I don't know. I would say, I would say positive. 'Cause on the bench, I am very, like somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, that was a bad pass, I apologize." I'm like, "Dude, hockey's a game of mistakes, like, you are so good, just next time, who cares?" So there's not really a time on the bench where I'm down on myself because I know when I get to that point, that's a whole 'nother talk is, like, mental side of the game is so important, and, like, once you get down on yourself or once you go negative, your mind goes, your legs go, like, you can't shoot, can't stick handle, so positivity probably.
I promise you when I say my answer for you was going to be positive. If you were like,
Really?
"Oh, I don't know what answer I should go with," I promise you I was gonna say positive.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. What is something that people may not know about you?
Ooh, I I ooh, okay, 2 answers. I'm gonna say I love to ski. I've been skiing longer than I've been playing hockey, fun fact. I'm a big skier. We have a cabin out in Big Sky, Montana. I try to go every year. Hockey does not allow me to, but I try. And then golf, I love golf, and I can't say that I'm too bad.
Okay.
I try my best. I've shot like, my best 9 hole is 1 under, so, I mean,
I'll take
I'm not
that.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. Great. Yeah, great. Another bunch of sports that I'm not at all very good at. I live vicariously through hockey. Cannot
Yeah.
skate. Cannot ski. Also, have
That's
only ever
so
golfed
funny.
once, and it was not very good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's okay.
not very good. Not very good.
That's okay.
Last one for you. If you could go back to Elk River and give your younger self some advice about the journey ahead, what do you think you would tell young Maddie Christian?
Oh, man. That's a hard one because there are so like, I had such a great childhood and, like, upbringing into college that, like, I go back and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, if I didn't tell my younger self anything, she would still succeed." There are little things like my biggest one is probably have fun. I would say once I got to junior year, that's when I'm like, "Okay, I need to start succeed," and that's when the mental side really, really comes into play, and you start meeting with these, like, um, mental skills coaches because you go through a dry spot and you're like, "I can't score," but, like, I need to produce, I need to I like blah, 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 but, like, having fun is the most important thing, and I think if I could go back to my younger self and say, "Just don't worry about points, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, and just have fun the rest of your career," that would have been I mean, I did have so much fun, but, like, I think having fun in the moments where I struggled the most would have helped me a little bit more.
Remembering exactly why you fell in
Exactly.
love with the game ultimately, even though you stumbled at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, that wraps up the final buzzer segment of the show and the final segment, unfortunately, of today's episode. Maddie, this has flown by. This has been
I
so
know.
much fun. I have absolutely loved hearing your story, being able to chat with you. I feel like this episode could easily be a 2-hour episode, and I would love every
Yeah.
second of it. But I do want to say good luck in this next chapter. You better believe that I am going to be cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow hockey fans. Your support helps me to continue bringing you stories just like this one from around the world of women's hockey. I'm Chris Sinclair. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on Rinkside Rundown.